của mình đã được bù đắp. Ê, hay thiệt luôn á.
Just north of Da Nang, the road begins to climb into Hai Van Pass, one of Vietnam's most dramatic and challenging mountain roads. The winding route rises between the mountains and the sea, with sharp bends and sweeping views at almost every turn. We've been over Hai Van Pass several times before, but it still feels exciting and new every time. As we climb higher, the road unfolds ahead of us, while the vast mountains and coastline stretch out in every direction. Surrounded by a landscape this dramatic, it's hard not to feel a sense of awe. But the road also demands confident and careful driving, particularly through its tighter bends. After about 20 minutes of climbing, we reached our first stop, Hai Van Quan. We parked across the road in front of the row of cafes and food stalls, then walked over to the entrance. We arrived a little after 9 a.m., and tour groups were already starting to come in. Sitting at around 490 meters above sea level, this historic mountain gateway once played an important military role on the route between Da Nang and Hue. The ticket booth is right by the entrance, with the current admission prices clearly displayed. If you're visiting on a sunny day, I'd recommend coming earlier when the weather is cooler and the site is generally quieter. We started a little later this time because we were traveling with children, and luckily the cloudy weather made the morning quite comfortable. Before you explore the gate, here is a little history. Hai Van Quan has long stood as a landmark on this historic mountain pass. The gate complex you see today was rebuilt in the 19th century, when Hai Van Pass was an important route connecting the coast with Hue. Its main purpose was to guard this strategic passage through the mountains. Today, the old gateway remains as a reminder of the important role this pass once played. The old walls are now surrounded by a quiet mountain landscape. You can walk through the old gate, explore the restored walls, and learn a little more about the history of the pass. But for most visitors, the real highlight is outside. From the top, the mountains and coastline stretch out in front of you. It's a beautiful place to take a few photos, enjoy the views, and simply pause for a moment. We thought our visit to Hai Van Quan would be over after about 20 minutes, but the kids had other ideas. For them, the real adventure was just beginning.
Look at this, wow!
The youngest one soon spotted an old concrete bunker and quickly crawled inside. A few curious visitors followed, wanting to see what was inside too. But the exploration didn't stop there. The kids kept going, following the path up the mountain where a few young visitors had just headed. This wasn't part of our plan. We didn't know exactly where the path would lead, but the boys wanted to find out. So we followed. The trail kept climbing. Even with their shirts soaked in sweat, the kids didn't want to give up. When the youngest spotted something up ahead, he excitedly ran toward it. The kids eventually reached an open clearing with views stretching out in every direction.
Mẹ ơi, tất cả công sức của mình đã được bù đắp lại đúng không mẹ? Tất cả công sức của mình đã được bù đắp lại rồi. Yeah!
Wow, đẹp chưa?
We could already see parts of this landscape from Hai Van Quan below. But from up here, with the mountains and coastline unfolding around us, everything felt much more dramatic. For a moment, all we could say was, wow. It was one of those moments when you realize that sometimes the best views are the ones you have to work a little harder to find. But the adventure wasn't over yet. The kids spotted another old bunker higher up the hill, and of course, they wanted to climb up and explore it too.
Xuống thành phố đẹp chưa nè?
Ê, hay thiệt luôn á.
I was a little worried about snakes and other insects hiding inside, so I told the kids it was time to come out. We decided to end our little adventure here. It was time to head back down the mountain. After such a long adventure, the kids still didn't seem tired at all. The youngest was still full of energy, but everyone was thirsty. So this seemed like the perfect time to take a break, grab some water, and relax at the cafe below the historic site. After a short break, we got back on the road, heading toward Lung Co and the next part of our journey. On the way down, we passed many young riders out exploring the mountain roads on their motorbikes. It brought back a few memories. We used to travel this way too when we were younger. As we came down from Hai Van Pass and reached Lung Co, everything seemed to slow down. After the winding roads and our adventure in the mountains, we found ourselves beside the calm waters of Lap An Lagoon. Although we had visited Hue several times before, this was our first time stopping at Lap An. The lagoon covers around 800 hectares of brackish water and is surrounded by the majestic Bach Ma Mountains. When the tide goes out, stretches of pale sand emerge from the water, creating one of the lagoon's most distinctive sights. The mountains were still all around us, but the landscape felt much more open and peaceful. We drove slowly along the lagoon, taking in the changing scenery before continuing our journey. At first, I wanted to drive all the way around the lagoon, but Lap An was much larger than we had expected. So my husband decided we would go about halfway and turn back to find somewhere for lunch. The kids were getting hungry too. On our way back to the restaurant, we suddenly came across a passenger train running alongside the road. Trains are nothing unusual for us, but watching that long train slowly roll through the deep green of the mountains and forest gave me a feeling that was surprisingly hard to describe. Perhaps it is these simple, unexpected moments that make a journey truly memorable. And finally, it was time for the whole family to refuel before the next part of our journey. We chose this restaurant based on reviews from other diners on Google Maps, and this was also our first time having a meal here. The restaurant has a spacious setting, but since we arrived during the busy lunch hour, it was fairly crowded. While we waited for our food, the youngest one in our family found his own way to pass the time, happily playing in the sand right by the lagoon. After lunch, we took a short walk around the lagoon before stopping at a local hammock cafe for a midday rest. After a long morning exploring Hai Van Pass, this was probably the perfect time for the whole family to slow down and take a proper break. A little before 4 p.m., we finally reached Lung Co Beach. After a morning in the mountains, lunch, and a short rest by the lagoon, the boys were more than ready for the sea. Even though we visited on a weekend, the beach was still surprisingly quiet. Unlike Miki Beach, there are no dedicated freshwater shower areas along this stretch of beach. The beachfront restaurants are where you can rinse off after swimming, so we chose one where we could freshen up and have dinner before heading back to Da Nang. While my husband and the boys enjoyed the water together, I took a walk along the beach to explore the area. The beach here still feels relatively untouched, with soft sand and a beautiful mountain backdrop. Unfortunately, quite a lot of litter was scattered along the shoreline, which takes away from the natural beauty of the place. Toward the far end of the beach, the resorts maintain a much cleaner stretch of sand, creating a very different atmosphere from the more natural, less developed sections I had just walked through. After my walk along the beach, I went back to join the boys in the water. They kept playing until the sun began to set. The boys had spent the day exploring, climbing, swimming, and simply enjoying being outdoors. And as the lights of Da Nang appeared below us, it was time to head home.